So when I was in school, teachers and administrators didn't really like me that much because
I stuck up for myself.
every time a teacher or an administrator or one of my peers would try to talk down to me, I would stand out and make it known that what they said was either a lie, I didn't like what they were saying, or they were just planning on being a bully. My school system, they didn't like to be wrong. They were always right, and they were very persuasive to get their way. If you know me personally in real life, you know about my shitty past with the school system, and how fucked up they were towards me. But if you don't, I'll give you a little backstory. The first year where I was like, was my 8th grade year, and it was also the year where I got in the most trouble throughout school. Just a lot of stuff happened on the bus because of some new kids, and my brother was also riding the bus, so you can put two and two together. If you can't, these kids try to fight my brother on the daily, and there's a bunch of other stuff that happened on the bus that I will talk about in another video. And then at the middle school, there was a lot of drama going on because of the bus and because of just the kids. They were just so messed up. So, in 8th grade, you were categorized as either one type of thing or the other. And I'm just going to say one is like alligators and frogs. So you were either an alligator or a frog. Each semester, you were either at the middle school or this other building that I'm going to be calling Building B. So, first semester, I was at the middle school, and then second semester, I was at Building B, because I was an alligator. But if you were a frog, you went to Building B first semester, and then the middle school second semester. So, I was also in choir, so my 4th period of Building B, I went back over to the middle school. And, the middle school was just a normal middle school. But Building B was, like, advanced classes. It wasn't, like, advanced history or anything. It was, like, classes that could sort of point you in a direction career-wise. And there's, like, a bunch of different ones. Like, there was one for weather, learning how to do the weather. And then there was one learning how to be a news broadcaster, and then there was one where you could learn how to fly airplanes in Spanish. And then because I had choir, I could only pick 2 instead of 3. So I picked Intro to Media, which was learning about Photoshop and iMovie and editing pictures and videos and all that stuff. And the other class I took was based around computers, like learning different applications on the computer, like learning about these apps and how to use them and stuff. And when I was in 8th grade especially, I wanted to be a YouTuber so bad. So that's why I picked those 2 classes that were based around computers, because I thought that if I could get the knowledge on a computer, then I could put that to use for YouTube. Which, looking back, it did help me a little bit. But overall,
it didn't really matter.
So my first semester, went okay when I was at the middle school. I hated it, of course, because of just all the stuff that was happening on the bus. My neighbor would tell her administrator, because she was a grade below me, so she would tell her administrator stuff that happened on the bus, and that would be brung over to me since we sat together and we talked about it a lot. I would get called to the office talking about that situation, which is what I'm going to be talking about today. One instance that happened, that is just so fucked up. And the reason why I had to explain to you about Building B, I guess, is because the administrator there, I really want to say his name because it's the funniest thing ever, but I'm going to call him Mr. Robert. Mr. Roberts? Mr. Robertson. Okay, that's his name. And know, the first day of school, we were okay. Like, me and him were. And then just after that, he just shit on me so many times. I'm going to get into some other instances in other videos, but I just want to talk about one in this video, like I said. So I went into second semester, telling myself that I wanted to be good this semester. I just wanted to, go to class, pay attention to the teacher, pass my tests, and then go on to high school, where then I can graduate and do whatever I want. But I got in trouble on the first day of school. The reason why I said me and Mr. Robertson were okay on the first day of school is because I had to go to his office and ask him about something that happened. Long story short, you weren't allowed to wear coats in my middle school, like, at all. You could wear jackets, but not coats, just in case you brought a gun or something. They were really scared of weapons, which I guess I can understand why. I had this jacket that had this really big hood on it, and my teacher mistaked it for a coat, told me to go put it in my locker. So during my lunch period, went down to the office, asked Mr. Robertson if this jacket was okay to wear. He said yes. Went back up to class, got there like a couple seconds after the bell, like I wasn't even late that bad. My teacher cussed me out, went to his office a couple days later. He called me, blah, 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 blah. I'll explain that in a whole other one. But because of that situation, he hated me. Because I'll put that story out sometime soon, just in case you want to know why I was. This is probably the fourth or so time that I got called to his office this situation happened. So my neighbor and me, she was my best friend, and over the years we've grown apart because she moved states away, like a long-ass way away, and I miss her, but life happens. And we were like I said, best friends. We were really close. She came over to my house every day. Every time she could, she'd stay the night. We rode the bus together. She was in a grade below me, so we never had classes together. But we saw each other in school sometimes, and we'd talk a little bit. She was like me on the bus. She hated pretty much everybody, and she tried to get the people kicked off as much as she could so we didn't have to deal with them for, a day or two, which I don't blame her. But this situation that I'm telling you today was just one of those things where I feel like she shouldn't have told anybody about it. We should have just kept it to ourselves. But because she did, at least I got a story out of it. So thank you, neighbor. You know who I'm talking. If you're watching this, I love you. I miss you. And I don't hate you for this because, it's not your fault. So I'm going to call my neighbor, let's call her Maggie. So there was these two twins that sat in the back of the bus. They were like 4 years older than me, so like probably 5 or 6 years older than her. They were like the twins that always got in trouble for everything because they were stupid and they hated school, so they tried to be as cool as they could and be in as many cliques as they could, They always did stuff on the bus that one would question. But the one thing that they did do that I don't have proof of, I don't even know if the school has proof of, me and Maggie, mainly Maggie, thought that these girls were smoking marijuana.
It's smoke weed every day.
And looking back at it, I guess I understand that, but it could have just been cigarettes. This is before like the whole vape and Juul thing happened. E-cig might have been out. But this is before like all that blew up. So they were smoking something. And of course Maggie thought it was marijuana. It could have been marijuana, cigarettes, anything. I knew they were smoking something, but I didn't know if it was marijuana or whatever. Which it doesn't matter. Either way, it's illegal, especially to do on school property. Being under the age of 18. On the bus especially, like, they cracked down so many people on the bus just for smoking, or looked like they were smoking. So, my bus driver was pretty lenient on everybody.
Except for me, of course.
When we first realized that they were, Maggie's like,
Hey, do you smell that?
and I instantly turned around. I'm like,
Oh yeah, look at him back there.
and she's like,
Oh my god, are they smoking weed?
and I'm like,
I don't know.
she's like,
Should we tell the bus driver?
I'm like,
You know he won't care.
she's like,
Well, should we tell an administrator or something?
I'm like.
No, don't get them involved, you know.
So the next day, of course, I get called down to Mr. Robertson's office.
I need Elizabeth Arthur to Mr. Robertson's office immediately, please.
All right. So I get down there, and I open the door. You know, I know exactly where it is because, like I said, this is probably the 4th time that I've been to his office just for stupid crap. So I go to sit down. He's just looking at me like this, and he's like,
Shut the door.
so I get up and, you know, go shut his door. And I sit back down. And, you know, I just like slouch in the chair because I'm just confused. And he's like,
Do you know why I called you down here today?
so of course I defend myself and I'm like, no, I'm not sure why you called me in here, actually. And pretty much what happened next is why I'm telling this story. Still pisses me off to this day that he called me this and said this to me. So instead of coming in and saying, you know, different stuff in between the different scenarios, I'm just gonna play it out like it happened that day, and I'll get back to you guys at the end.
There was a student who went to her administrator and told us that you knew something about illegal activity happening on your bus yesterday evening, and I wanted to know if this is true or not.
May I get the name of the person who told you this information?
The student wanted to remain anonymous, so that is confidential, and because of that, I'm not going to tell you.
Alright, well, I honestly have no idea what you're talking about. Yeah, my friend Maggie mentioned that she thought she could smell and see somebody in the back of the bus smoking something. I don't know if it was marijuana or, you know, a cigarette, but like I said, I'm not sure.
Alright, but the student told us that you were involved with these activities.
No, I would not do that. I'm not the type of person. You can look at the bus footage. It wasn't me.
Alright, so since in the past you have been a liar and you have lied to me and my colleagues, I don't believe you. And so, are you a weed smoker?
Are you a weed smoker? Are you a weed smoker?
Because the student said that you were involved, and since it's marijuana,
Can I look at the bus footage?
that is also confidential. I personally haven't seen the bus footage.
Alright, whatever. Yeah, it wasn't me. You can look at the footage, like I said. I don't know if they were doing it or not.
No, the student specifically told us that you were involved with smoking marijuana on your bus. But because of the circumstances, I'm going to give you a warning, and if this happens again, you can go to juvie and even jail. So make sure you don't do it again, especially on school property. Alright, you may leave. Show my door on your way out.
So yeah, my administrator actually called me a weed smoker
Are you a weed smoker?
because my neighbor thought that she saw someone smoking marijuana on our bus. It's just one of those things where when you hear it from another perspective, you're probably like, wow, like you may be blowing that out of proportion, like it's okay. I mean, maybe he was just assuming that she was talking about you. When you're the one involved, you think a lot differently than that. And I just don't think that's right. So that entire day, I was pretty much in like a weird haze. That's funny. That's really funny. Because I just couldn't believe that he would say that to me and call me that. I'm not sure if I told Maggie or not. But if I didn't, sorry. I'm pretty sure I did though. She should know. But yeah, just the entire situation was just so messed up. And I believe it was because he didn't like me before. He had problems out of me before, so he automatically assumed that it was me. There were some other things that he called me, of course, throughout the year I will get into in another video. But that one really stuck with me. That one really stuck with me. So yeah. That's the time I got called a pothead by principal when I had nothing to do with it.
Are you a weed smoker? 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 Are you a weed smoker?